my respectful pranam to revered Srimad Swami Prarthanananda Ji Maharaj, Secretary of this ashrama. My heartfelt love and best wishes to my brother monks, and my respect, namaskar to all the devotees of God present here, and to the mothers, and my love and best wishes to all young brothers and sisters. Today, an auspicious day. This is celebrated as Christmas Eve in all the branch centers as well as in the headquarters of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission since its inception. And I will tell the cause of it, why Ramakrishna Mission celebrates this day. Being an organization of Hindu fold, why Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission celebrate this Christmas Eve? This question comes from many people from the various corners of our country. Why? Our one elderly monk, Srimad Swami Prabhuvananda Ji Maharaj, and he was a scholar also. In his words, I will tell the reason. Swami Prabhuvananda Ji Maharaj writing, I am not a Christian, I am not a theologian, I have not read the Bible interpretations of the great Christian scholars. I have studied the New Testament as I have studied the scriptures of my own religion, that is Vedanta. Vedanta, which evolved from the Vedas, the most ancient of Hindu scriptures, teaches that all religions are true in as much as they lead to one and the same goal, that is God realization. My religion, therefore, accepts and reveres all the great prophets, spiritual teachers, and aspects of the Godhead worshipped in different faiths, considering them to be manifestations of one underlying truth. I think all of you can understand why Ramakrishna Mission is celebrating this day, because though we are of Hindu fold, but as Swami Vivekananda used to say, in the better way it can be expressed that we are Vedic. We belong to Vedic religion. It is to some extent the better way expressed our entity, our existence. It was about 1874 when Sri Ramakrishna was staying at Dakshineshwar and doing his sadhanas for 12 years rigorously. That time, one day he was visiting the garden house of Jodu Malik, a devotee of Ramakrishna order, but Sri Ramakrishna. Then, while wandering in the garden, Sri Ramakrishna was seated in the drawing room of another devotee's home. He saw a picture of the Madonna and child. That picture you may find here Mother Mary, some say Madonna, taking her child in her lap. That photo was there, that picture was there. The Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna was looking at that picture. Absorbed in contemplation of this picture, he saw it suddenly become living and effulgent. That picture, that photo was hanging on the wall, but suddenly it became as if living and effulgent. An ecstatic love for Christ filled Sri Ramakrishna's heart, and a vision came to him of a Christian church in which devotees were burning incense and lighting candles before Jesus. For 3 days, Sri Ramakrishna lived under the spell of this experience. On the 4th day, while he was walking in a grove at Dakshineshwar, he saw a person of serene countenance approaching with his gaze fixed on him. At Dakshineshwar, you may remember that Sri Ramakrishna's room and Panchavati, the distance not far, but from Panchavati side, that one form as if moving towards him, he saw. And he saw that person is not of the Indian origin. He may be from some foreign country or so. Suddenly, Sri Ramakrishna's heart came filled with an idea that this is Jesus. This is Jesus who poured out his heart's blood for the redemption of mankind. This is none other than Christ, the embodiment of love. You see, Sri Ramakrishna, when he was going through all sadhanas of all the sects of Hinduism as well as of Islamism, Christianity also, every time within 3 days he got the realization, he got the ultimate goal, and the deity of that fold, he got the vision of the deity, and the deity merged into his body in every cases. It is written in Leela Prasanga, Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasanga by Swami Saradananda Ji Maharaj. Here also we see that effulgent form of a person who seems to be a foreigner coming towards him and merged in him. And then he understood that this is Jesus who poured out his heart's blood for the redemption of mankind. This is none other than Christ, the embodiment of love. The Son of Man then embraced Sri Ramakrishna and entered into him, and Sri Ramakrishna went into Samadhi. This state of transcendental consciousness, thus was Sri Ramakrishna convinced of Christ's divinity, and Jesus Christ was the incarnation of God. He became sure, and afterwards this was told by him to his direct disciples who gathered around him, and to other devotees also. This is one reason we celebrate this day. Another reason, shortly after Sri Ramakrishna's death, 9 of his young disciples gathered on a winter night at Baburam Maharaj's maternal uncle's house. Baburam Maharaj Swami Premananda Ji, this in the corner, this picture is there. You may see. His maternal uncle's house was at Antpur village in the Hooghly district of West Bengal. There they gathered 9 disciples, the 9 direct disciples, including Swami Vivekananda. They gathered there in a winter night, and before a sacred fire they sat and took their vows of formal renunciation. Henceforth, they were to serve God as monks. Their leader, the future Swami Vivekananda, told his brothers the story of Jesus' life, asking them to become Christs themselves, to please themselves, to aid in the redemption of the world, and to deny themselves as Jesus had done. Like Jesus, we should also renounce the world and sacrifice our life for the good of the world, for the redemption of the world. Like that vows they took in front of fire at that village in the Baburam Maharaj's maternal house. Later, the monks discovered, they did not know that it was 24th December, the day before the birth of this great soul. They did not know. But afterwards, they came to know that this evening had been the Christian Christmas Eve, a very propitious occasion for their vows. Thus, since the early days of our order, Christ has been honored and revered by our Swamis as one of the greatest of illumined teachers. Many of our monks quote Christ's word to explain and illustrate spiritual truths, perceiving an essential unity between his message and the message of our Hindu seers and sages. So, now we understood that why does Ramakrishna Mission celebrate this day as it celebrates other auspicious days like Sri Ramakrishna's birthday, Holy Mother's birthday, Swamiji's birthday, and so on. Now, reading from Sermon on the Mount. Sermon on the Mount, Jesus Christ delivered to his direct disciples, 12 direct disciples. Sitting on a mount, high altitude, he was delivering his lectures, his advices towards those disciples. We know that Sri Ramakrishna has also direct disciples, 16 direct disciples. Their photos are here, you may see. But Jesus Christ, he also had 12 disciples. While he was baptized by John Baptist, after that he started preaching, going on preaching, moving on. And many people, a rush, we can say, a crowd were rushing behind after him to hear him, to listen to him, to see him. And Jesus moving forward, and gradually all the disciples also came to him, and taking them, he went up to that mountain, sat there and started his secret teachings, secret advice to them. All the great teachers, they come down to the earth and they show their life, and they advise to general people in general, And some people are there, which is called Antaranga, the inner circle people. That is few chosen souls. To them, they give a special doctrine, special advice, so that they can do his work properly and perfectly. Like that, Jesus Christ also started. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This is the first sermon. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. The disciple or the seekers of God must be poor in spirit. That is, a little explanation is there. In other words, he must be humble. If a man has pride in learning, wealth, beauty, or lineage, or has preconceived ideas of what spiritual life is and how he should be taught, his mind is not receptive to higher teachings. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Gospel of the Hindus, we read, Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya. That highest knowledge, if you want to know, you go to your teacher, that is Acharya, Guru, and bow down to him and serve him and ask the question of that spiritual quest. Then only being satisfied with your service and your humble expressions, that Guru will teach you that highest teachings. So here also, Jesus first told his disciple that blessed are the poor in spirit. Poor means not like that, the poor in wealth, poor in others worldly things. No, it is being humble. Second sermon, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. As long as we think that we are rich in worldly goods or in knowledge, we cannot make spiritual progress. When we feel that we are poor in spirit, when we grieve that we have not realized the truth of God, then only will we be comforted. No doubt we all mourn, but for what? For the loss of worldly pleasures and possessions. But that is not the kind of mourning of which Christ speaks. The mourning which Christ calls blessed is very rare because it arises from a sense of spiritual loss, spiritual loneliness. As Sri Ramakrishna said in Bengali, মাখ ছেলের জন্য লোকে ঘটি ঘটি কাঁদে, ভগবান লাভের জন্য কজন কাঁদে। People weep rivers of tears because a son is not born or because they cannot get riches. But who sheds even one tear drop because he has not seen God? Vedanta says this is Maya. When we begin to mourn as Christ wished us to mourn, when we shed even one drop of tear for God, then only we prepare the way for the comfort of what divine knowledge, of that divine knowledge. Third sermon, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. What is meekness? It is to live in self-surrender to God, free from the sense of me and mine. This does not mean that we should get rid of wealth, family and friends, but we should get rid of the idea that they belong to us. They belong to God. We should think of ourselves as God's servants, to whose care we has entrusted his creatures and possessions. As soon as we understand this truth and give up our deluded individual claims, we find that in the truest sense, everything belongs to us after all. Number 4, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. What is the righteousness for which Christ wants us to hunger and thirst? This righteousness, therefore, is not what we ordinarily think of us as moral virtues or good qualities, not relative good as opposed to evil or relative virtue as opposed to vice, but absolute righteousness, absolute goodness, the hunger and thirst after the righteousness of which Christ speaks is the hunger and thirst after God Himself. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. To be merciful is one of the conditions necessary before we can receive the truth of God. Merciful, that is one quality. Envy, jealousy, hatred, these are some of the universal weaknesses inborn in man. They are linked with our ego sense, which stems from ignorance. How to overcome them? By raising an opposite wave of thought. How to control our anger, our passions, etc. It is told in our Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Maitri Karuna Mudita Upekshanam Sukha Dukkha Punya Punya Visayanam Bhavanatahas Chitta Prasadanam. If you want undisturbed calmness of the mind, then you should cultivate friendliness towards the happy, mercy and compassion for the unhappy, delight in the virtuous and indifference towards the wicked. All these things, all the advices which come from the great souls, that is not a new one. They are all existing. That is called Veda. That Veda, it is there, Jnana. Sattvam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. That is eternal. That is always in the past, present and also future. It is there. Only they discover them and they place them in front of us, the ordinary people. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. What Jesus is telling, all is there in the Vedas. That's why I am telling some quotation from the scripture of our Hindu culture. Hindu scriptures say purity is twofold. One is external, internal is the other. Internal purity is vital for God realization. According to Yoga philosophy, there are 5 root causes of impressions in the mind which make our mind impure. What are those? It is avidya, asmita, raga, desha, abhinivesha, panchaklesha. That is ignorance, ego, attachment, hatredness and clinging to life. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, Manetei baddha, manetei mukta. One is in bondage through mind and becomes free from bondage through the mind itself. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Christ tells us that the reward for those who are persecuted for God's sake is heaven. And so, the reward of the illumined soul who does not react to any injury done to him is immediate, because he knows that heaven is always present within him as well as without. Even in this life, he sees God as Atman, dwelling within his own heart. He sees God as Brahman, pervading the whole universe. He worships God in every creature. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let our light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus here speaks of the mission of the divine incarnation, called the Avatar by the Hindus and the Son of God by the Christians. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgments. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the councils, but whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hell fire. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out thence till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. Until we actually reach oneness with God, it is of course quite natural that we should have misunderstandings and quarrels with one another. But we must not let our resentment stay with us, or they will eat into our hearts like cancer. Christ, who like all truly spiritual teachers was a great psychologist, taught that we must be reconciled as soon as possible with our brother, even before we offer our gift to God. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offends thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offends thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. Here Jesus is speaking of the necessity for self-mastery, for mental control of the passions, particularly lust. Merely refraining from lustful actions is not enough. Lustful thoughts must be checked too. Again, ye have heard that it hath been said by them of old time, thou shalt not forswear thyself, but shalt perform unto the Lord thine oaths. But I say unto you, swear not at all, neither by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstools, neither by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Neither shalt thou swear by the head, because thou canst make one hair white or black, but let your communication be yea, nay, for whatsoever is more than this cometh of evil. Christ here is telling us that although man cannot make one hair white or black, in his ignorance he thinks that he is the doer. He asserts his ego, forgetting that the power he is using in every thought and every action is the power of God, and that it is God's heaven. He forgets God's throne, God's earth that he is trying to usurp. He forgets this. Christ therefore tells us, swear not at all, for when we swear, we assert the ego. God is the doer, and we are his instruments. This is an actual experience in the lives of godly men. Not I, but thou. As Sri Ramakrishna has said, Naham, tuhu. Hamba noy, tuhu. Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, that ye resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man will sue thee at the law, and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him 12. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. Ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if he love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? The highest truth which has been taught by the great spiritual teachers of mankind is that we should love our enemies and not resist evil. Swami Vivekananda said, this non-resistance is the highest manifestation of power in actual possession. And what is called the resisting of evil is but a step on the way towards it. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect. In this sentence, Jesus gives the central theme of the Sermon on the Mount. The whole purpose of man's life is stated here, and the same theme is at the heart of every religion. That is, seek perfection. If you seek perfection, then realize God. Obtaining which means obtaining God realization, man becomes perfect, immortal, satisfied. He desires nothing, grieves not, hates none, does not delight in sense objects, becomes intoxicated, rejoices in the bliss of the Atman. The man who experiences this unitary consciousness enters into the kingdom of heaven and becomes perfect even as the Father in heaven is perfect. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, that thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Here Jesus speaks of action and its reward, cause and effect, which in Vedanta is set forth as the law of karma. The law of karma states that if I do some good deed for you, I will get my reward. Whether you yourself give me or not, that does not matter. If I do good, I shall receive good in return. If I do something bad, bad will come back to me. That is the law. As Swami Vivekananda has said, Subhe Subho, Mande Manda Phal, E Niyam Rodhe, Nahi Karo Bal. And when thou prayest, thou shalt not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut the door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Here Christ begins his instruction on prayer. Prayer should be done in secret. That is, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna Dev has said, Dhyan korbe mone bone kone. Ebong, he used to say Nirjan Vas, Nirjan Vas. That is what told in this sermon. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think that they shall be heard for their much speaking. Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Because God is everything. He has become all these things. In our Upanishads it is told, Chaksusa chaksuhu, Srotrasya srotraha, Manoso manaha, etc. Sarvatah panipadastat, Sarvatokshi siro mukham. That is what told in this sermon. He is that pure consciousness whose reflection upon our intellect makes us conscious. He knows whether our prayers are hypocritical or the supplications of a sincere heart. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So, we should not run after any temptation of these worldly things. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as the hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. He cannot serve God and mammon. Compare Christ's words with the Hindu saying about Rama. It is there, Jahan Ram tahan nahi Kam, Jahan Kam tahan nahi Ram. That is, where Rama is, there is no worldly craving, and where worldly craving exists, Rama is not. Let us face the facts. The attempt to serve God and mammon simultaneously is quite hopeless. The great spiritual teachers tell us that it cannot be done. We cannot become absorbed in God as long as we are slaves to cravings such as lust and greed. Spiritual discrimination must accompany spiritual practices. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more important than meat, and the body than raiment? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged, and with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? That is fault-finding nature, what is told by our Holy Mother. যদি শান্তি পেতে চাও মা, পরের দোষ দেখো না, দোষ দেখবে নিজের. That is what told in this sermon also. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see dearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. The holy things should not be given to the dogs, etc. It is told. Jesus tells us that how they are to teach the truth of God. He wants them to discriminate, to preach only to those who are prepared to receive and follow the teaching. That subtle things cannot be understood by all. So that should not be told to everybody. There should be some discrimination. Ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Therefore all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. Now prayer, how to pray. It is told that pray in the secret. Jesus is telling, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works, and then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. These verses have frequently been used to justify a kind of humanistic religion. The humanists interpret the phrase about doing the will of my Father as a command to perform good works in the external world. They say, Lord, Lord, to give the work a touch of emotion and then go ahead with their social service. They use God as a scavenger to clean out the drains of human society as if. But there is only one way of doing the will of God, and that is first to realize Him. Until we have done that, we can never know what His will is. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Now, I will conclude this with a quotation from Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda's lectures, it is there, he delivered lectures on Christ. He says, he had no other occupation in life, no other thought except one, that he was spirit. He was disembodied, unfettered, unbound spirit. And not only so, but he, with his marvelous vision, had found that every man and woman, whether Jew or Gentile, whether rich or poor, whether saint or sinner, was the embodiment of the same undying spirit as himself. Therefore, the one work his whole life sought was calling them to realize their own spiritual nature. Give up, he said, give up these superstitious dreams that you are low and that you are poor. Think not that you are trampled upon and tyrannized over as if you were slaves. For within you is something that can never be tyrannized over, never be trampled upon, never be troubled, never be killed. No, he declared, the kingdom of God is within you. You are all sons of God, immortal spirit. Dare you stand up and say, not only that I am the Son of God, but I shall also find in my heart of hearts that I and my Father are one. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.